जय हिंद, जय भारत एंड वेलकम टू डेफ टॉक्स। दिस इज आदि अचिंत। आइए समझें जियोपॉलिटिक्स को एक भारतीय नजरिए से।
So India has a mindset where it hits, it punches below its weight. We have to punch not above our weight. We have to punch not below our weight. We have to increase our weight and punch proportionally.
ये हमारा सिद्धांत है। हम घर में घुस के मारेंगे।
You know, victims of terrorism do not sit together with perpetrators of terrorism to discuss terrorism.
Namaskar, Jai Hind, Jai Bharat, and welcome to Dev Talks. This is Adi Achint. I have the honor and the privilege to actually have Mr. Vikram Sood with me to talk about geopolitics, to talk about international affairs. And my main question to Sir is that there is a global crisis brewing. Is India safe? So we'll talk about everything around and we'll come down to this question to find out what's up with India, how are we going to look at things going forward, because India also has a lot of issues. So, firstly, as I said, honor to have you on the platform once again. Always lovely to talk to you and to learn from you. So, my
Thanks.
first question
Sounds
to
good.
you, my first question to you is, how do you see the recent elections in the United States of America? Is Donald Trump worth his word?
Look, as far as we are concerned, I don't care so much what they do among themselves. As far as I am concerned, as far as I am as an Indian, I look at it. The U.S. foreign policy follows a track of national self-interest. You call it "Make America Great Again" or whatever you want to call it. My interest comes first. And so far, they've always had the ability to force their way. They could get things done. This was before the social media era, before the rise of China, in a manner of speaking, the resurgence of Russia. That was their game. Now it is becoming more and more difficult. So I am looking at Trump not as a president of the United States for the United States. I'm looking at the president. What will he do to mean for us? And like all presidents, all US presidents, they will be on our side when it suits them, when their interests are served. If they are not served, they won't be there for you. So take it as it comes. Because Biden wasn't particularly good. Obama said a lot of nice things, but nothing much happened. Clinton likewise. Bush also. Bush actually gave you the most in the terms of nuclear treaty, etc., etc. But those were things that they needed also. They didn't do it for us. They did it for themselves as well. Their interest in having India on their side and with nuclear facilities helped their industry, their technology, etc., etc. So that's how I look at it. बाकी आपस में ये लोग जो कर रहे हैं in their own country, it's sad, but that's how it is going to be. The other fear I have is between now and January 20. Because on one side, you have a president who's not really there,
Mm-hmm.
and his vice president is also missing in action. Okay, so who's running America? What sort are running America? On the other side, you have Putin, very clear headed, very purposeful. He knows what he wants, he knows what to do next. He's not doing it ad hoc, he's doing step by step. And he's got a very smart foreign minister. He's got a very smart aide in Medvedev. And even the other Russian commentators make a lot of sense. So, who's playing who for what? The stories are that if you watch American podcasts, some of them I've watched, they think that it is the duo of the Secretary of State and the NSA who are managing affairs, Sullivan and Blinken.
Blinken. Hmm.
And Blinken seems to be the hardliner, so I'm not sure where we are. going with them. On the other hand, I think their ploy to give this chap Yelinsky permission to use the IRBM into Russia, that is, I think, been countermanded substantially by Poroshenko. That the mirv that they threw into, that they told the world about, the capacity of it, it's a hypersonic missile. So, and it's non-nuclear.
Hmm.
So they've got a one up on the Russian, on the Americans on that. And the way the war is going, I don't think Zelensky has much chance left. I mean, 600,000 killed, more than 1 million injured, and what have you got in return? Just
Squat.
lost of your territory. So I think the Americans will have to, well, not sue for peace, but have some face saving, and I think Putin is smart enough to allow that. That's what I hoped would happen, because fortunately Trump has said that he's not going to allow a lot of things that the Biden administration is promising in its death weeks. So let's see how it goes.
You mentioned India, and what we see is antagonism from America and its so-called allies and partners and stuff like that. Leave alone Canada, I find it to be a joke, as a matter of fact, and
Canada is a pathetic case.
pathetic joke sort of a thing.
I mean, this
But
chap Trudeau is full of himself, and so let it be. And this picking up this other chap from America, this fellow who's Nijar, नाम क्या उसका?
Panu,
Panu, American citizen है. So let him have Khalistan in America. I mean, I'm not concerned. Have it there. Nobody wants it here. You go and get it there. These are pressure points, actually. Adani was a pressure point.
why, sir?
They don't want you to be economically strong here. The world, we're too big to be militarily conquered, I think. Too big, too vast in numbers, too disparate, and well armed for anyone to try and have a military takeover. That's out. So how do you control India from becoming a potential, not challenger, competitor for economic gains, for trade, for industry? How do we keep the Indians in check so that they do as I say, not do as I do? So Bangladesh में करा दो. Either you can make regime changes in both Pakistan and Bangladesh. You want to keep India under check, keep them busy internally. Agricultural farm laws mat hone do. CCA mat hone do. These kinds of reforms that you want to bring in, don't let them happen. Anything that benefits the Indian and prevents him or feels there is no need to go to the West for support means that they're losing leverage here. So they must create leverage or maintain leverage, and there are many people here who look to them for hope, with hope. I mean, when they say that they're going to charge Adani, there are people here who say, yes, jolly good show. Please do it. We're a sovereign nation. And for a politician to say that is shameful. That you say, come and do it. Come and look in. My judiciary is no good. Everything is no good. You're the best guys. Come and look at this case. We'll support you. Well, that is your problem.
When we see something like this happening, sir, and they know that they're on the way out, and we think that uh, I personally have been kind of with sort of a thought process that this is the scorched earth policy.
Hmm.
Burn everything before you
Yeah.
go out,
Chaos as
destroy.
strategy.
Yeah,
Chaos as strategy.
yeah.
Everywhere. Middle East, Eurasian countries, keep Russia occupied. To what extent? But then, as who was it? I think it was Robert Kennedy Jr. He said, if you understand the nature of war and illness, you know why they are being fought. The profitability of these two. Peace is not profitable here. Wars are. 30% of the land, I believe, in Ukraine has been taken over by BlackRock through Cargill, Monsanto, and one more. And the fight in Ukraine is not so much also about Ukraine, it's about Russia. It is also about the minerals resources of Ukraine. I believe they vary a bit. I don't have, I go by the figures that come out. It could vary between 2 to $26 trillion worth. And that's a huge amount.
So the 200 billion that they spent is peanuts.
Yeah. And they say that money is not even meant for them. That all comes back to America.
Oh, yesterday there was a Polish guy who's put out a statement, the
Uh,
ex former Polish official who's put out a statement to say that 50% of the Ukraine aid goes back to the Democrats.
yeah, yeah. It's true. I mean, it could be true 50, 60, 40, whoever, it goes back there. I've heard it myself said on TV by one of the American. Don't worry, the money all comes back to us. 90% of UN aid always used to go to the countries who gave the aid because monies are sanctioned. Then they're asked to buy a particular equipment made in that particular country for which the cost is $50 million. So that takes care of $50 million aid to you. Baat khatam.
India should start giving a lot of aid then.
Yeah, it is a huge weapon.
No wonder we keep giving to UNRWA and stuff like that. I used to wonder why we do that. So fair enough. We are self
Uh,
figuring it out. Okay, that's pretty good. That's interesting. But sir, this cost earth policy that they've put up with. Why India, sir? I mean, you've mentioned that it's a challenger or it's a rival or whatever it is. But the I was listening to a CSIS lecture by the Deputy Secretary of State, Kurt Campbell, and he mentioned something very interesting. He said that India is, we've had issues with India in the past some time. We've had headwinds. And he mentioned something that kind of shocked me. And the interviewer didn't kind of take it forward. He said domestic political problems with India, headwinds with domestic political problems. Now, that was like a little weird to me. Domestic political problems, is it domestic political problems within America or domestic political problems within India that your regime change operations have not worked?
yeah, that's the problem. That is the problem. You see, when was Modi first got into their radar? 2000,
2002?
2002. And they banned him. He was not allowed to visit
So
America.
they knew who Modi was in 2002.
They knew, they must have assessed that this guy has got potential. This man is going to go far.
My God.
So either we prevent him now or we have to take care. Now they couldn't prevent. 2014 he came. They probably thought he's a one-day wonder or one election wonder and he'll be out by the next time. And next time he came back with a huge majority. So why do you see so much happening in the third term? Sorry, at the end of the second term, into the
Second
third.
term. Yeah.
Why was it? Everybody seemed to have got into this. How many times did our fellows go visiting to different parts of the world, saying things against the government? So there is an element here which firmly believes that the only way we can get rid of the present regime is not through the election box. It's not working. So even if you call it allege that it is a fixed thing or whatever, it hasn't worked. Nobody believes it because it hasn't worked in Maharashtra. Why hasn't it worked in the way they want it in Jharkhand?
Hmm.
So, that is not there. So you have to find some other resource for this, other means to do it.
I mean, I don't understand the antagonism against Modi, sir. Fair enough. You don't like the guy. Okay, fine. Not that the previous dispensation was signing alliances with you.
Hmm.
It was never the case.
No.
So if you
In
want
fact,
India to be an alliance,
if there is an agreement with anybody that one knows of, it's the one between the Congress Party and the CCP.
exactly. So
The
why this
details of
guy?
which we
I
don't
mean,
know. Details of which we don't know.
we don't.
Nobody, what is it that they've signed? And it was an officially signed document with photographs and shown around, but the contents nobody knows. So you can have these kinds of agreements without signing papers also. You don't have to sign a document. And have you heard of an organization called, you must have, National Endowment for Democracy?
Oh yes, sir. Victoria regime change. Nuland has now become part of the board of
Yeah.
that.
Like, yes, she's on that board. And um, this chap, the fellow who was doing the regime change in Bangladesh is the same chap who was doing regime change in
Pakistan.
Pakistan. I believe he has visited India also
Donald do, yes, sir, multiple times.
multiple times. So, and there's a lot of interest shown in the southern states. By the embassies and the consulates. That may be routine duty, I guess. They're
Yeah,
entitled to.
yeah.
So,
Just like I have 16-inch long hair on my head and I have a ponytail. It's regular duty for them.
yeah.
Um, I don't buy it. But so when we look at this structure, the Americans and Donald Trump has come out and said this pretty clearly that our country is hated, our country is not liked, our country is not appreciated. We've been putting our nose into other people's business again and again and again and again and again. And we see this. So how much of a, I won't call it hope, or how much of a incline would you kind of give Donald Trump to straighten out this particular thing? Because he's put up people like the Dodge now, which is your Department of Government
Yeah.
Efficiency. You've got
Yeah.
all this stuff which is there,
Yeah.
and especially the leadership that he's taken. I mean, we've got guys like Marco Rubio and all these guys who are the head of the India caucus.
Hmm.
For the past 15 years, they've done a lot of work with India. They're pro India and this and that. But how do you see this new structure coming in as far as the overt government is concerned? We'll talk about the covert one after
You
this.
know, there is this deep state that everyone keeps talking about. And up to a point, that is plausible that there are vested interests who control the show. And it's quite obvious from what's happening these days with Biden not in the picture. So somebody is running the show, calling the shots.
Of course.
And I also am told that the um, The intelligence agencies had told them, the government last year or year before last, that Russia is finished. You see, the trouble is, you propagate your strength so hard all over the world that everybody believes that. You yourself believe it.
When you start believing your own propaganda, that's the biggest failure.
You, first one to believe is actually you yourself. And then you start underestimating the other fellow.
Sir,
Because you have to prove that the first one is right. And you find both are wrong.
wow.
He is more resilient than you, and you are less resilient than you think. And the Americans have never, ever fought a war on their soil. The only war they fought was the Civil War and ousting the Brits. Now, there's hardly a war. So this is the only, they have not experienced what it is to fight a brutal war on your land. They don't have a Leningrad.
No.
They don't have a Leningrad. Huh? So, what is it that they have learned from life? They lost a lot of men in Vietnam. I grant you that. But that was there, not here, not at home. The bomb didn't fall in a town in Michigan or wherever. It always fell 10,000 miles away, 8,000 miles away. You were not hit. Your families didn't see that. That's a great psychological change, difference between fighting for your soil on your soil and fighting another war which is somebody else's war. You don't really know why you're fighting. So that is where now they haven't sent an American soldier for Ukraine after Iran. No way. And when when a superpower leaves a country that it has sworn to defend and protect and give everything, after 20 fruitless years, you sneak away. Is that how a superpower is supposed to behave? So obviously the other side gets advantage of this. I don't attack you, I don't do anything, but I'm with you. So that is how these things have evolved over time. You can't keep having chaos as strategy when it's going to affect you yourself. Let this happen in. You can't have this situation in the Middle East when you have powerful countries like Iran, and Iran's still around, strong, well equipped, and if you want to extend the war between to control Iran, it's going to be soaring a bit too much. You won't be able to handle it. The Iran and Saudis have patched up. Have they patched up or not? I don't know, but they have certainly been a jolt to the Americans. They didn't want that. They would have liked the Iranians and the Saudis to keep fighting. They would like the Iranians and the Israelis to keep fighting. So उसी में तो पैसा है. Many years ago, the British did a deal with the Saudis, $1 billion BAE, British Aerospace deal. I think it was 80 billion or 70 billion dollars, a lot of money those days. And you know what was the reward for the ambassador who got it done? He was given a Boeing aircraft for himself. So that's how the world operates. The Brits got the deal and he got the aircraft and everybody's happy. And then they talk about corruption anywhere else.
Yeah. Yeah, Adani corrupt. My God. I mean, that's like the biggest joke I've ever seen. That you're kind of focusing on a guy.
In their
It,
own country, it's called lobbying. Huh?
it's called lobbying. It's a polite
You
word.
register yourself as a lobbyist, and you can do what you like.
You're a
You
bribe master, nothing else.
lobby the congressman, you lobby the bureaucrats. वो धंधा अलग है.
But
उनको
it's very interesting that Adani also, if you see his tweet the minute Donald Trump won, oh, he came out and gave such beautiful praises. Oh, if there's a guy who can do anything to America, it's Donald Trump and this and that. When I read that, I'm like, this guy is calling for it. What's wrong with him? Why is he doing this?
Hmm.
And sure enough, it came. And it came on an energy industry, which he had promised to invest $15 billion within the US.
Hmm.
So it kind of made sense. The question I'm wanting to ask is that did Adani do this on purpose? Because it sure does seem like he kind of stirred the hornet's nest.
Could be. I'm not sure why he did it. But he's not. He's a
Why, I
very
don't know. But
shrewd man. Very shrewd man. He could have
you
got
don't
gone
become a
to.
billionaire without that, sir.
You can't. He could have just kept quiet and not said anything and waited
Yeah.
for Trump to take over.
Why would you bring this, sorry to say, shitstorm on yourself unless you have a purpose?
Yeah, maybe he does. But maybe we are not able to read what he was trying to do or intending to do. ऐसा चलता है इनका.
Yeah, that is there. But sir, let's go to the globe right now. You've got the war in Russia, which is as you mentioned that Putin is. I mean, thankfully, he's a sane person. He's not doing anything stupid at the moment. He's just displayed a particular weapon, and he said, "Okay, guys, this is what I can do. Calm down." There've been stupid statements from the New York Times coming in saying, "Ki, let's give them back their nukes." I was like, "Oh God, what's wrong with these people?" This is what the New York Times actually said last week, and I
Give
was like,
them
okay,
back the.
fair enough. Yeah, they want to give back the nukes to the Ukrainians that they had taken, the 191 nukes. He will give it back to you. You fight your war and all that stuff. Okay, fair enough. Where do you see this game going, sir? Is this now they're just trying to antagonize Putin and push him to make a mistake
Yeah,
so that Trump
just
finds it
want
difficult?
they just want him to make a mistake.
Hmm.
They hope he makes a mistake because they've made their mistakes. They've made their own mistakes, and now I think they want him to make a mistake, take a false step. And I don't think he will. He's far too shrewd, and he's not for nothing. Has been there for 20 years. Yeah, and gave the
Again, you
man.
don't become a billionaire like Putin, the richest
And
man in
then
the
and
world.
then, and then you first spread rumors that he's got some incurable disease, and then that there is some in a cabinet dissension opposed to him. These kinds of stories kept coming out. Nothing has happened. He's gone on, and he'll carry on.
Even here, the same thing. Today, one of the news outlets has put out this thing. Oh, in Maharashtra, there's a fight between Eknath Shinde and Devendra Fadnavis.
Pawar and
Hmm.
the
Sources
but
are telling this. Yeah, shove your sources wherever. It doesn't really matter
these are
because
all lot of idle gossip goes around, and
yeah,
that becomes intelligence, and you pad it up with something else, and the best way to please a politician is to give him the news he wants to hear.
yeah, of course.
If you are not doing that, you're not doing your job properly. So,
So
so many who prefer that. No, they don't hear bad news.
the antagonism I see is more in Europe. So I don't see the same antagonism of kind of exploding the entire region within the Middle East. They tried it. It didn't work. Iran didn't take the bait. Um, I see the Iranians kind of backing off. Elon Musk went and spoke to the Iranians, and I don't know what he spoke, but I don't know why Elon Musk goes there of all the people.
He
A tough
must have
negotiator,
did he carry a message from Trump?
most likely, sir.
I wouldn't be surprised if he did.
Yeah.
Why would he chug all the way? Why would the Iranians let him come? to meet for discussions. And there must have been something.
I won't be surprised.
They don't want Iran and Saudi Arabia to be too close to each other. So they're maybe trying to put a spanner in the works. They always do that.
Why the target on Hindus, sir?
Hmm?
Why the target on Hindus? Why do they hate Hindus so much?
They don't.
Dismantling Hindutva.
I think. I think it's
Uh,
a fear. Everywhere they went, they converted the locals.
mhm.
Hmm? Catholics, Protestants, whatever, Muslims, they converted the local populations. ये काबू नहीं आया. So, how do you handle this chap? He believes in all sorts of things. He doesn't believe in one God. He doesn't believe in one book. So,
And on
split
top of
up.
that, he preaches to me.
Huh?
He sends me yoga. He sends me all sorts of things.
He sent me homeopathy. He sent me this, that. Ayurveda sends me.
Yeah.
And people here believe it. No, and then he then try and cause dissensions with it. Today or yesterday, I saw a British Army colonel or major or whoever. Couldn't see this. He's talking about the bravery of the Sikh soldier.
Hmm.
How Sikhs have contributed with their bravery for the British Empire. He's not talking of anybody else from India, only Sikhs. Is that a genuine thing or is it a subtle cleavage?
Oh, you see, Patrick Brown in Canada. He's the mayor of Ontario. He suddenly comes up with the flag of LTTE, which is, by the way, banned in Canada. He
Yeah,
says we
yeah.
should celebrate the Tamil Elam. I'm like, what? Does he even know what it is?
The Tamils have stopped talking about it.
I was like, this guy is gone nuts. And the worst
Uh,
part is the comments down there. There are people saying, I'm Tamil, I have no problem. What's wrong with you? Why you bring this up? I had nothing to do with
don't
all
queer
this
my
stuff.
pitch, I'm okay.
Yeah, I'm perfectly fine. Then don't do all this stuff, please.
Uh,
And he thinks it's against India, which doesn't realize there's nothing to do
no, he
with
thinks
India. The
Tamil
Elam is in
Nadu, so Tamil में उधर ही होगा ना. And then you talk like that.
uneducated, sir. It's really, really amazing that the way, and they call themselves the leaders of the world, they have zero understanding of how the world actually functions.
But I believe a new scam is coming up, not a scam or a bigger than
Toolkit.
Watergate.
Okay.
Bigger than Watergate. Apparently, the Five Eye countries were asked
Yeah,
to
yeah. Obama.
Obama to watch on what Mr.
Trump does.
Trump is up to.
Can you imagine this?
Spy on because they can't do it themselves, so they ask these
Can you
poor people
imagine?
to do it for them. So they did it. That's how they work there.
And these are words spoken by Obama. Who is
Yeah.
Obama? A former president.
Yeah.
He's
But
giving instructions to the Five Eyes saying that you need to spy on Trump and keep an eye on him and let us know if he does anything here and there.
yeah, I think he was the patron of the Democratic Party.
Yeah.
So, right, and he's disappeared too after the election results.
I believe he's in UK, sir.
Hmm? Asylum.
That'll be the day. A former president seeking asylum in another country.
He must be running scared of Trump's whatever Trump might be planning to do.
Yeah, you never know, sir. You never know. Sir, coming back to the region, we have Bangladesh, and we've spoken about Bangladesh last time when we had a chat. We've got, they're kind of teasing us right now. They're kind of antagonizing us by the anti-Hindu violence and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
We know that. They're trying to
Yeah.
kind of keep us in our check. They don't care about Hindu or this and that. If we were a Christian country, they would have been going after Christians. If we were a Buddhist country, they would have been going after Buddhists. If we were a Jew country, they would have been killing the Jews there.
They want to
Entice us. Yeah, incite us.
Inside
Yeah.
us. And
What's the end?
That's the charter they've been given.
Hmm. For me,
They're
sir,
not.
there are two situations that happened in the east part of this country. One is Manipur, and the second is Bangladesh. And both of them were to block our, um, you know, pathway to, or to the access to the southeast, because
Mm.
they want us to remain within the Malacca Straits.
Yeah.
And I look at it geographically and I say, the Karadan multimodal project, the trilateral highway is all blocked because of these two issues.
Mm.
Is this basically trying to contain India without actually saying containment of India? Because they say openly containment of China, but they're not saying containment of India. Is this a containment of India policy?
Yeah, it works that way. It works that way. Immediately तो हमको फर्क पड़ता है ना.
Absolutely.
We are the first person, the first country to be hit. I mean, it would have benefited Bangladesh and Myanmar as well, but as far as I'm concerned, it hurts me. And since you cannot overpower militarily, you have to do it this way. You have to keep India internally involved in all its problems. And there are enough people here willing to do that job.
Oh, yes. A lot of people say pick them up and throw them in jail. I say, when you do that, there are 15 more that are ready and waiting.
Mm.
There's no point picking these guys up. You need to deal with the disease, not the symptoms.
Yeah,
Would you agree to that, sir?
that is what is happening. And right now, the Pakistanis are involved in their own problems, so they're not touching them now. But it was always like that. You say you are my friend, but you harm my enemy. You can't expect that I'll then be always be on your side. I won't. I'll also make my choices. If America or Britain or any other country is giving aid to me or help or doing a treaty, it is a mutually beneficial arrangement. It is not something that it is being done out of generosity. There's no generosity in international relations.
Not even us. We don't give anything to
We
anybody
won't.
without.
Why should we?
we-
Why should we?
Yeah, yeah.
So, if that is so, then I will make my choices. India will make its choices. We have to be like that. And which is the country that can harm you the most?
Pakistan and Bangladesh.
On their own?
No, never. Not at all, actually.
माई बाप कौन है?
America.
So, what do we conclude from that?
A lot of narrative goes that we should just go inside Bangladesh, break it up, arm forces, and this and that. I've
No,
been quite against it because that'd be like a trap.
you don't have to do that. You don't have to do that. It's a quagmire. You'll fall into it. Fall into it.
I mean, it's not like the previous time there's a next rung of leadership ready that you can
No,
just install and
previous,
come back.
previous thing was totally different. Now we don't have that situation. Now you have these youngsters who talk differently. This is a post 72 generation.
Correct.
It has not seen all that. It's a generation, if he's 20 years old now, he was born in 2004.
Hmm.
It's after a lot, after WTC, after Iraq war had started, after Osama bin Laden had done what he had to do, etc., etc. They are now that generation. They are motivated by that, maybe. So history, they it depends on what history they were taught at school. Have we ever had a look at their history books? What did it say about the 1971 war and afterwards? What does it say about the assassination of Sheikh Mujib?
It doesn't say much actually. I've done some research on that.
It doesn't, no? Yeah.
Nope.
So mindsets get developed like that. After Sheikh Mujib, we had three governments of the other group, BNP included.
Yeah.
Sheikh Hasina came only in 1996, and then she lost, and then she came back again next time. But so the atmosphere in Bangladesh is different, and we don't go around conquering other countries. No, it doesn't work.
No, conquering never works. There's no question. You look at Russia, it's such a big power. It's not been able to take what it wanted to in Ukraine. Look at Israel with the best so-called intelligence agencies, this, that, everything. It couldn't. It's not been able to clean Gaza. So it's not something that simple. It's not. It's not that easy that you go in, break heads, and come back. It's not this thing. So how would you? I mean, if you were to advise the government on what to do with Bangladesh, what would you do, sir?
Thank God they don't ask me for my advice. I think you have to.
What would you do, sir?
You have to be very patient. You have to be very strong on the borders and let this play out internally. The moment you step in, you are taking a side. Unless you can be so subtle, so smart that you can change it without revealing your hand. But I don't think that will happen in a hurry. Right now, the mood is totally different. Maybe planted, maybe engineered, but it is different. They keep saying that we're going to ask for the repatriation of Sheikh Hasina.
Not that I like her, but no ways you're going to get
Well,
her.
they elected her. The Americans elected Trump. What can I do? They got this. Who's this chap? Who's the British Prime Minister? Starmer. What's his name?
Keir Starmer. Now they're writing petitions to get him out from there.
मैं क्या करूं उसका? I have to deal with him.
Such a joke Western countries have become, right? You elect a guy with all bloody full majority. Now 300,000 people have written a petition saying, oh, we want this guy out. We want a new election.
Want this guy out, yeah.
You guys elected the guy. You didn't know that he was a lefty. I mean, what's wrong with you people?
They're
It's,
like that.
it's amazing. I'll ask you one more question, sir, before we take some of the audience questions which are here. Guys, by that time, I request everybody to hit the like button really, really hard. Let's make this show go viral and let's more people watch this. It's a realistic discussion. That's what we need to have. So, India, we need to protect our country, and that's our priority. And that's something that we need to do. Looking at what's happening, and I kind of look at internal security very closely, I can see the amount of drugs, the amount of scams. The government is at it. I know that. They've declared a war on drugs, but without kind of going out and saying there's a war on drugs. Yesterday was 5,500 kgs. The week before that was 900 kgs of meth that the Indian Army, so the Indian Navy and everybody picked up from Gujarat. The week before that, it was 5,000 kgs, 3,000 kgs that got caught in Mundra port in Gujarat. Then there was another 1,000 kgs that got caught in Delhi. So it's fantastic. Almost, I would say about 50,000 crores worth of drugs have been caught in the past month. And that's a lot of money, You also have situations in Manipur. You also have situations in Bangladesh, of course. You also have some antagonism with regards to Christian nationalism. You've got antagonism with regards to politics, which is very clear that it's motivated and it's uh, backed by people from abroad and stuff like that. Where do you see, or what do you see as a security priority for the leadership today? And where would you kind of focus more as far as let me use Prime Minister Modi's words, "Ek hai to safe hai," and that's something which is very interesting to me because previously when we were kids, we used to say, we're all brothers and sisters. We need to unite. We need to this thing. We used to say that then, that was fine. But when we say that today, it's communal. Um,
Yeah.
so he's coming out with these slogans. There's a reason for it. I mean, he's a little far thinker. A lot of people don't understand all this stuff. So where do you see the security scenario within India? Being influenced from abroad, being influenced by the neighborhood. How do you see this going forward in the next some time, especially looking at global geopolitics and the global chaos taking place around us? Sir?
It's a we are as I think Naipaul said, no, no, million mutinies now or 1,000 mutinies now, something like that. He wrote in
Yeah,
his book. We are that country, but we've always had something or the other brewing somewhere else. Only now it is becoming more focused and stronger, partly because it is the social media which is doing it. You go to France, you go to Germany, nothing like this appears in German news TVs or French TVs, but a lot more appears elsewhere about those countries. In India, it is the other way around. A lot more appears about us. We talk about it ourselves more than anybody else. So that has a multiplier effect. You talk today, I talk tomorrow, I tell two others, and it goes and spreads everywhere. So my first thing is, do we control information? Do we modulate information? Do we self-censor information? You know, censorship is bad. Nobody wants that.
yeah,
But, it's like a terrorist incident or an incident of violence. You look at the newspaper now and then I look at the front page. There are 8 or 9 stories about violence in the country. वो उसने उसको मार दिया वो डकैती हो गई you know uh, there were 3 shot dead by the police, 2 terrorists kill 3 soldiers killed. That's your news. So I think we have still to learn what to report and what not to report, and this has to come from within. No
yeah.
government will. It's like saying governments must provide employment. Government is not in the business of providing jobs. It's the private sector which will provide jobs, not them. And you have to be able to be fit for that job. Guys, I'm straying from that topic. So, ek to, this is how narratives are built. This is how perceptions are built about the country. यहाँ तो सब गड़बड़ है जी. Every other day you find a report uh, putting stones on the railway track. For a week, 10, 15 days, now it's gone. Why?
Because they cracked some backs and kind of the message went.
Something like that happened, so it stopped.
I, I call it Mirchi treatment. Some treatment
Huh?
happened somewhere. I call it Mirchi treatment. Something happened somewhere and
Huh?
it stopped.
Yeah.
You see the threats for the airlines also same thing. I think I'll
And,
just
and
add to
and
what you're saying.
we have to we have to really break the crime and terrorism and drugs linkages.
That's true.
They are the ones who spread both crime and terror, and the money flows. And the money flows in different direction. Money is fungible. It goes to political parties, it goes to vested interests, it goes everywhere else. So we have to break that nexus. And probably the most difficult task is that once you decided, the government has decided that it is going to follow a particular path, it is going to introduce a law. It does introduce the law, then it should push it through. Otherwise, don't try it. Farm bill should have gone through.
Yeah.
Come what may. It should have pushed it through. Because that was going to benefit the small farmer, not the guy who came for the protest in his air conditioned Mercedes and parked it there, made a little bar for himself and served Scotch whiskey. So that's not what we want. The man, the farmer was going to benefit.
Yeah.
We lost that. Law and order. What is the face of the state as far as anybody is concerned? Every individual is concerned. Safety, Anna.
Safety,
My
law
daughter
and order,
is,
development.
or my wife is safe to go to work or school and come back safe.
It's true.
Has the state has to ensure that. That's the state's job. Primary health is its job. It's the state's job to give you Rozgar. It will give you only job where it can in its own establishment, not in private sector. So you have to make arrangements for the private sector to flourish. It should take, I don't know how many days it takes now for sanctions to come through. I believe it's still very long for proposals to be mature, to proposals to mature. It takes still a mighty long time. Those are the things they have to do.
Hmm.
Um,
Enabling.
defense and security is a given.
Hmm.
The more you grow economically, the greater your defense and security requirements. The greater and more than that, the nature of requirements. If the enemy is going to use AI, what are you going to do? I mean, in our time, when we moved from Morse code to telex, it was a great achievement. And
Yeah.
from there to now, the quantum jump is unimaginable. Who would have foreseen this? When I first read about artificial intelligence, 2016 or 15, I was in the United States, and this person, Arno Borshkov, he told me about artificial intelligence. We were having lunch. Then you got thinking, and then he said that by 2025, artificial intelligence will exceed human intelligence. What does that mean? And where are you going to get your um, chips? कहाँ से आएंगे आपके पास? Who manufactures them? We in the matrix of artificial intelligence and all that, China is number two, way behind the US. We are in the bottom quadrant at the bottom. We have miles to go.
Yeah.
These are things which are going to be your security requirements in the future. What are we doing about it? So we have multiple issues. We don't have one issue. So I don't know how I won't be able to prioritize them. I think some things have to go simultaneously. You got to have silos going around simultaneously. What about education? To what purpose? Why do we still have MAs and BAs by the lakhs? We don't need them. We need technicians. We need guys who can do machine work,
Skilled.
skilled labor,
Mhm.
and skilled labor with a pride, not as if, the way we treated our carpenters or electricians in the past. They're qualified individuals who know a lot more than we know. So those are things we need to do. बहुत आगे जाना है, बहुत काम है,
Miles to go before we sleep.
miles to go. But we're
Absolutely.
okay. We'll we've survived for thousands of years. We'll survive.
Yeah, I'm not worried about that.
You're not
I
worried
just
about the pace might slow or uh, speed up at times. That's okay.
I'm not worried about that, sir, because the way that the I see the younger generation, uh, building up, and so many people connected with me who are in their 20s right now.
The,
Trust me, if
the
I was so aware when I was 20s, I would have been a different person today.
Yeah,
I
I
only
mean
started opening my eyes when I was
the young
30.
is far more
Uh,
self-assured,
yeah. I'm
and I,
quite positive about it.
and I can see it on the cricket field yesterday or day before in Australia. How
Mhm.
our boys were, you know, they were behaving like champs. That's how
No, the
should be.
youngsters do give me a lot of hope. Although the youngsters also give me some scares when I see
Yeah,
Instagram, but I also see a lot
yeah,
of hope as
and
far as
and that is true. They do make. Yeah,
yeah,
you're right. Well, that's what it is.
yeah. But that's how it is. That's how it is. That's fine. Um, it's perfectly all right. Guys, let's get into some questions. My request to everybody, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you've not, share this discussion with your friends and families. Let's take some questions. And of course, request all of you, if you can contribute towards this channel, the QR code, PayPal are for direct contributions, which are in the description, or super sticker, super chats, or memberships. All that details is down there below in the description. So please spread the word, share your love. We're at 339,000 subscribers, another 1,000 to go for 340, and that's something which is a good milestone to be at. I'll just acknowledge the members first. Mr. Sri Krishna Pandaji, thank you. Adarsh Thakurji, thank you so much. Elephant in the Room, that's an interesting name. Thank you so much. And also, you should see some names. Huh? It's me thinking. Thank you so much for becoming a member. And I think that's it for the memberships. Let's take some questions. Parthaji, thank you. May not happen now, but how do you see the exchanges of platforms like the Brazil's C390 Tejas? Why does USD? Why USD? We may not even need to trade in our own currencies. Why the US dollar, sir? Let's leave the Tejas part of it aside. That's a different discussion. But why the USD? Even now,
I don't know what the arrangement between the two countries is. You agreed to sign in US dollars and you pay in dollars. If you not
so
work it out,
there's an article which is written. I'm sorry to interject. There's an article which is written by the new Treasury Secretary, and he very clearly states that it's going to be his mission to re-establish the US dollar as the global reserve, which seems to be flaring right now. He didn't talk about trading currencies. So, do you think the US is going to have a change of heart in that aspect?
probably as we go ahead, there will be pressures on the dollar, and it will more as more and more countries move into uh, other currencies, and the Americans do fear that the BRICS countries are going to do that first. They're going to trade in each other's currencies. So the dollar will lose, and once the dollar loses its uniqueness or its global value, then American um, control over the globe will also weaken immediately.
Reduce.
That's what they don't want. Control is not of weapons, control is of the dollar currency.
That's true, sir. It's me thinking. Thank you. Very interesting session, sir. Thank you. Thank you so much for that compliment.
Thank you.
Mr.
Thank you.
Mr. Rao says, sir, there's a serious uptake of Dravidian separatism in Facebook and Instagram. The government needs to be careful. Sadly, many people from my state are also included. That's true. We can see
Well,
that.
I didn't know about this. Well, if it
No,
is,
there is, sir, but it's more or less online. There are these fake accounts that have been created, and I've kind of dug into a lot of these. Most of these accounts were created in August 2023, um, and
Why that year? No, that year, that month?
to build up for the election, sir.
Ah,
Yeah, so most of these accounts were created during that time, and they kind of spring up for a certain purpose, certain time, and you will see the difference in their tweeting or their activity online. They spring up, create a certain narrative, and they just die off.
hmm.
So this is something I'm seeing like a paradigm, and I call a lot of these. I mean, a lot of these accounts are Hindu names with
Yeah,
Hindu
all the
gods, and
less odd
yeah,
names make a
yeah,
nasty and disappear.
and they will come around and say, "Oh, this is stupid," and this and that and all that stuff.
Ah,
It's
you don't
it's
know anything.
yeah. So I have seen that a lot now.
Uh,
I call them super Hindus, by the way, sir.
uh,
Mr. Jain, thank you so much. Suit's a big fan of yours. Kamal Sibil, Brahma, your wisdom is diamond precious. Great pleasure to hear from
wow.
you.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's me thinking. Thank you so much for your contribution. Mr. E, thank you so much. You say, Adi, we should not have any country building progress like us in Afghanistan, like US in Afghanistan. We will be legitimate targets. Instagram gets blamed for burning raw channels in Bangladesh. IG, I hope it's Instagram that you're mentioning, but okay.
I don't
No
really.
country building. No democracy spreading as what the US does. This probably is the question, statement connected to my Bangladesh question. Should we go in or not?
No, we shouldn't go. We shouldn't be. We shouldn't be going in with a, what should I say? Kind of leading marches into the country. We would
Yeah.
shoot out. You just have to wait it out for a while. I think this will die out because we are we're on three sides of their border, of their territory. They have to be dependent on us. Nobody else is going to do it for them.
True.
We use that judiciously, and they'll be all right. But don't doesn't mean that you have to give them free access to your country,
Yeah.
illegitimate access to your country. That has to stop. Otherwise, it's okay.
Yeah.
You want to be
That's
Islamic? Go ahead. I don't mind. It's up to you. Whatever.
fantastic. Implement the entire thing. I want to see cut hands.
Yeah, let them do that.
Mr. Jain, once again, thank you. Sutsa, what do you think about Trump coming to power on geopolitics and drama around our neighbors? What do you think of Trudeau drama in the deep state? We've talked about the neighbor. Any word about Trudeau and the deep state, sir? So I call him, by the way, before you start,
Trudeau.
my new nickname for Trudeau is Adolf Jastinder Bindranwale.
No, I think Trudeau is still sulking after his only visit to India.
2018.
Brought his one of the ministers who was a wanted person on his team, and we said no. And then he just went around all over Punjab and Bombay doing the Bangla and went away. But he hasn't forgotten that. And domestic interests, I believe, have been the reason for his continued support for the Khalistan movement. And if Mr. Trudeau wants Khalistan, he can have it in Brampton. I don't mind. It's okay. You can have that.
And he can connect with me. I'll be happy to make a map and give it to him.
Yes, we can do all that for him. You can have it there. Khalistan is not an issue here. Let's not get too perturbed about him. In any case, strategically, economically, it is a low value country for us.
Yeah, yeah.
So I would pay more attention to the American attitudes and issues than this guy. It's annoying, I know. It's
It
irritating,
is
but what to do?
terribly, sir. Gives me a lot of content to work on, at least. Anomitra ji, thank you. Sood sir, please accept my pranam at your feet. After clearing UPSC, CSC, my aim is to join RAW. I'm highly passionate about espionage. Please bless me.
You're blessed, son. All the way.
There you go, sir. E, once again, maybe idiotic coup would have led into execution of our agents and assets. So, sir, are our IFS and administrative staff trained to handle current geopolitical situations?
Current situation. They were well trained when I was in service. That was 20 years ago. I
So I'm
imagine
sure
it's well or
I'm sure
not.
you did your job well, sir.
I don't know where. I can't comment on the others. I don't know. Let's
Kumodji,
not.
thank you for your,
Okay.
and Full Metal Heart, thank you so much. Says only two possibilities to ensure uninterrupted growth is USA not fingering us or satisfy people by actually giving khata khat or 15 lakhs so that they don't riot.
Well,
Sir,
you ask the Katakat group. I don't know how it works with them. 15 lakhs, but
doesn't work, sir. You and I stay in the same state. Mr. Gopal Krishnaji, thank you. A lame duck government can do all this?
which is the lame duck government is talking about?
The
Here or
US.
in US, I think US has to reconsider this little long gap they give between the election results and the actual takeover. A lot of mischief can be done in that. Maybe that's why it was designed like that. But but he's elected today. Tomorrow he's president. Finished. End of story. Why this 6 weeks or kitna hai? 6 weeks or 8 weeks of gap?
72 days, sir. 72 days this time.
So that's two
It's
months.
ridiculous. It's too much.
Two
More
months
than
you
two
can.
months.
So that system is terribly faulted.
True. Ashish Jainji, thank you. How do you see pseudo farmer blocks mixed with Khalistanis and supported by Soros and Trudeau? Of course, everybody's pretty irritated about Trudeau. But could the government prevent it? Was it as bad as Bangladesh?
No, it wasn't as bad as Bangladesh. Much smaller. It wasn't violent in that sense. We had violence in the other case of was it CCA.
Yeah. To me, what's shocking was today a former IFS officer, I don't want to take his name, he tweeted out something, and that was pretty shocking to me that, we should boycott elections.
Yeah,
If the.
I I saw that.
Hmm.
Boycott कर लो, ठीक है.
Karo.
Very
If they
right
think
there.
this is, if people think this is Bangladesh, they have another one coming.
Do that. You can vote Nota also. करो.
Yeah, do it.
Yeah. It's a free country.
But tells you the mentality of certain individuals within the country, right, sir?
uh, of those
Srinivas
who.
ji. Sorry, please go ahead, sir.
No, it's okay.
Srinivas ji, pranams to the spy master ji. Will eventually India have to take a side in case of larger global conflict, like siding with the US axis against China axis?
I hope we don't get to that stage ever. Because it's going to be a difficult choice. It doesn't come automatically.
Wow. Ashish ji, thank you. Should government of India take more stern steps for AI fake videos like the ones used in Lok Sabha elections? How do you see this from a security point of view for democratic elections? The same thing happened in America as well.
भाई आपने AI इंट्रोड्यूस किया है तो उसका एडवांटेज भी है और वो भी है डिसएडवांटेज भी है. Nothing comes for free in life. Fire is beautiful when it's warm on a cold winter's night, but it's hellish in summer. So there are both ways of looking at things. If you have an AI, you will get the good guys using it, you get the bad guys using it.
I'm going to use this phrase,
Like,
the fire phrase from you, with your permission, by the way.
sorry?
It's a fantastic phrase.
Yeah,
The fire is beautiful on a cold winter's night, but it's hellish in summers.
yeah,
It's very simple, but a very, very deep phrase.
yeah. So that's how life is.
Bolai Chandaji, thank you so much. You say, is North Korea capable to make a biological weapon? Of
I
course, he's in
really,
the States. He's worried
yeah,
about that.
they would probably have assistance for that, but I really don't know. Can't honestly comment on this.
Full Metal Heart, thank you once again. You say satisfying people not to riot best. ED collected 1.5 lakh crore catching bribes, catching billions of drugs, sell them. ECI is catching money, cut a cut and let people free feel free of debt. So yeah, drugs is fine. You can't sell drugs and raise the money. Now that's the problem.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we would have been bloody stinking rich by now. You know, you can't sell the drugs and make money out of it. That's there. I'll take a last one, sir. Rajesh Agrawalji says Trump should announce now he will not interfere in Ukraine. Also tell Putin to do whatever he wants to do. Same with Israel. How would the Democrat and the deep state react? Will it rattle them?
Uh, Trump should announce now he will not interfere in Ukraine and also tell Putin.
I mean, I personally also feel Trump speaks too much, sir. So
Yeah. He बहुत कुछ कहेगा. No need to say all that.
yeah,
The point is that the Americans started this. They provoked the Russians. Putin kept saying from the beginning, no Ukraine, no Ukraine. That's the red line. But they kept on, needling him, regime change, NATO would be, membership would be given. So he said, all right, buddy, I'm coming now. And then they thought it'll be over in 2 days, he'll go back, he will be defeated. We trained these Ukrainian troops. Nothing happened. So where does the image stand today? Americans have to make the first move. He said, I'm ready to talk. They are the ones who sent Boris Johnson, Napalana to tell him, no, don't fire. We'll give you more weapons. We'll give you more arms. The French said, we will give you this. I think they're all also looking at a post-NATO phase. That then France can be the only country making weapons. Maybe Spain makes a bet or other countries. The Swedes make Bofors, for sure, we know that. But France is the only other country in Europe, bar UK, which is outside the EU, who make weapons. So absent NATO, they will supply weapons. Italy makes a bet, so they can pitch in. But what else can they do? And this offer of French weaponry for use, the display by Putin, the clever move to show his ability, his country's ability, when he's come up with a statement that there are more such things on the drawing board or beyond. So he's telling the Americans, you got much more to contend with. Maybe this will force them to make it. Everybody wants a face safe now.
wonderful, sir. Thank you so much. Always, as I said in the beginning, I'm quite blown apart with your analysis of the situation around us. It's always a pleasure, an honor, and learning experience to talk to you. And I've always said that. I always enjoy these conversations.
You make me feel good. Thank you.
Oh, yes, I love the conversations because, there are very few people that can actually talk about a global scale. And they're, of course, it's really interesting to talk to people like that. Thank you so much, sir.
Take care. All the best.
Till the next time. Jai Hind.
Jai Hind.